what has happened over the last few, the short period of time into ISIS, against ISIS. And I'd be delighted if you've got another cursor. This isn't working. Now, you can look at the map from a year ago and from now. Days. You can see the dark gray. The ISIS has lost a lot of people. They're recruiting anew. They've lost a lot of their actual oil assets. They try to compensate themselves by actually levying a lot of taxes instead now. And the effort today, the central efforts are actually in the actual fighting, is in order to cut off this contiguity, in order to separate them from Turkey, so that there will be somehow some way of curbing the whole flowing of all the weaponry, and these are the main efforts that are being exerted. But you have to remember that ISIS and the Islamic State has a very high level of settling themselves, and they can change and adapt themselves to things that are happening. And I think that over the last 3 months, through the eyes of this organization, were the worst ever for them that they have ever suffered. And the big question is, how would the state of Israel like this whole story to end in Syria? I'd like to end it on a negative aspect. How would we not like it to end? For as far as we're concerned, I think to a certain degree, a scene that is described here describes the scene in the cemetery, in the good, bad, and the ugly. ISIS has been defeated, it has been contained, its influence has been decreased, and the superpowers have left the area, and we are stuck here with the radical axis, with the Hezbollah in Iran, with perhaps no better caches of weaponry than we had before. So as far as we're concerned, it's a very complicated, complex end, a negative one, and we need to impact, so this will not happen, with the help of the superpowers and with other ways, of course, as well. So as far as we're concerned, it's a very complicated, complex end, a negative one, and we need to impact, so this will not happen, with the help of the superpowers and with other ways, of course, as well. I would like to actually talk about the Palestinian arena now. From the end of October, we're experiencing a different experience, a terror wave that is based on incitement and instigation. It has not managed to sweep the entire Palestinian street with it, though. And now, what is the reason for the fact that the Palestinian street has not harnessed itself and joined forces? Now, why is this actually modern escalation? It's not the organization or the nationalism that is actually doing it. I think there's something else going on here. We're talking in terms of trends. Now, just a week after a terrible terror attack in Tel Aviv, and I know that if we calculate statistics on terror incidents in Israel is extremely sensitive, but still, we need to analyze where we stand. When we look at the picture from the beginning of October, we can see a very clear trend of a decrease in these attacks. The main issue is not whether there will be any more attacks in the future, but whether we will be able to know how to grapple and contend with the situation in such a way that we will decrease them and also actually decrease the quality, in other words, the severity of them. The way the IDF, especially the Home Front and the Command and Shabak and the Israeli police, have been grappling and contending in a very focused manner. They are endeavoring to try and minimize those achievements and to deal with the issues in a very focused manner. And there's a whole harnessing, a mobilization on a national level with punitory steps, which could, by the way, if they take these punitory steps, they may sweep the entire Palestinian street. So they're being very cautious about it. What has not happened? Hamas wanted to join these forces in this wave in Judea and Samaria. The Fatah, the PLO, have defined it as El Abba. They call it the outbreak. Hamas has defined it as the Al-Quds Intifada. They want to see an uprising, riots, and look at the language that is being used here. And it's very important to note that thus it should be retained and preserved.